Today we're talking about 5 easy and affordable camera hacks that you can do today to completely destroy your camera beyond repair. Number 1 is really going to shock you. Wait. Before you get started, I got something for you. I'm clearly recording a video. Look, man, I mean, 5 easy camera hacks, sure, great stuff, but I was thinking today instead you could actually review a product, you know, because those are the things that actually get you views. All right, I mean, what are you doing? Look, it's a shotgun microphone. I have a microphone. I mean, compared to some of the other things that you've been doing, as far as mounting your microphone up there, this might actually be a better and easier solution for you. So, I don't know, you might want to try it out. I don't know, you'll talk about it, you can talk about the pros, the cons. Just trust me, check this out. All right, bring it here. Get out of here. Get out of here. You get out of here. All right, I guess we'll put that other idea on the back burner for a bit, and today instead we'll be talking about, this is what? The Comica VM20. You didn't even know the brand. The brand's on there. The Comica VM20 Shotgun Microphone, and it's gonna shock you. Throughout this video, I'm actually going to be giving you a number of comparisons and examples using this Comica VM20, comparing it to that Deity D4 Duo to help simulate real-world examples that I think this microphone would be practically used for, including vlogging, podcasting, interviewing, as well as using it outdoors too. I'll also be using this and sharing different examples at different distances so you can hear the differences in audio quality and the amount of background noise that it picks up. And I'll give you some tips as well to help minimize that too. So if you're interested in learning all about this microphone and hearing some comparisons and seeing some real world examples, stay tuned for that. If at any point you want to learn more about this microphone, find its best prices, or if you want to learn about any of the other gear that I use to make these videos, you can use the affiliate links down below and help support the channel out. It helps me make more videos like these for you guys. First off, I mean, check out this case. Pretty big. It's got a lot in here. That's how you know they mean business. What do we have in here? You got the mic, always nice to include. Your branded windscreen. You have your shock cold shoe mount. One thing about this, when I was testing it out, it seems to be a little bit more stiff compared to some of the other ones I've had on other microphone systems. It doesn't really seem to absorb and deaden vibrations and movements very well. On your top compartment here, you also have a dead cat, so that's actually really cool. You have both the dead cat and the foam windscreen, and combining the two, obviously you have now a second layer to help filter out those low frequencies. I'm going to be going between a couple locations. Like right now we have very little external noises, so you can probably pick up my voice pretty well and just focus in on it. There's also not very much wind right now. And then we'll be switching to other locations that are going to be a little bit more tough on the microphones, where it's going to be windier. I'm going to go at further distances, and we're also going to be picking up some traffic too. And then lastly, you have your two cables. You have a TRS to TRS cable and a TRS to TRRS cable. That's a little odd, and I'll explain why in just a bit. When you put all the pieces together, this is how it looks. And if you want to add your dead cat, it actually fits and is designed to go over the windscreen. Again, these two microphones are not apples to apples, and while they do have different features and they have unique advantages over one another, they are still targeted towards the same demographic of content creators, people who want to get better audio and they don't want to spend more than like $150. Being that I just recently reviewed the Deity D4 Duo, and I think it is a great value. I think it will be great to hear the differences, even though they aren't quite in the same category, so to speak. But again, if you're doing voiceovers, any kind of audio like this where you're close to the audio source, I can get even closer here, and it's more of like an ASMR experience. I'm very impressed with both right now. I'm noticing very little room noise, which is fantastic. And for this portion of the video that you're listening to right now with the Comica mounted up there, you can't see it, but it's right there. This is a super cardioid, which means it's very singularly directioned to just pick up the sounds coming directly in front of it, kind of eliminating the sounds on its sides. This is great when you're kind of doing these kinds of videos where you're just trying to pick up a singular voice and perhaps you're in a noisier situation and you just want to kind of eliminate all those other sounds and just, again, focus in on what I'm saying. And so while we are in this more controlled environment, I'm going to go ahead and switch between the low cut being off to 75 hertz to 150 hertz so you can hear that difference. So now we're talking without the low cut filter on at all. I'm just going to talk for a bit here so you can just hear it. And then with the silence coming up, see if you can notice any difference with the background noise. Now we've got it set to 75 hertz. So again, I'm just going to be talking for a bit. Do you notice any difference in quality in my sound itself? When I was actually monitoring it in the post edit, I didn't notice any difference in the actual sound quality of my voice, just a little bit less background noise. All right, and now this is 150 hertz. When I was monitoring this, my voice definitely sounded more muffled. It did help with background noise, but again, it comes at the expense of the main audio quality. If we listen to the background noise now, indoors I've noticed it doesn't really help that much. Maybe a little bit more noticeable compared to having it at 75 hertz, but not enough again to justify the decrease in overall audio quality. Up until this point, you've been listening to it with the windscreen and the dead cat on, because again, I found that it helped really reduce the background noise that was being picked up and didn't really come at the expense of audio quality. I'm gonna go ahead and take that off now so we can listen to the difference between them. And now we've removed both of them, so how does the audio sound right now? One of the things that I noticed when monitoring it is that it is louder. So when you do have the combined windscreen and dead cat on there, it does reduce your volume levels, so you do need to adjust that accordingly. Right now I haven't actually adjusted it on the mic itself, just so you can see how much louder it is. So this is going to simulate more of a podcast interview style where you want the microphone to be as close to your audio source, in this case our voices. The microphones don't need to be as sensitive because you're closer to the audio source, and so that should mean that it doesn't have to pick up as much of the background noise, which we're trying to eliminate. So if you're going for the highest quality audio possible, this is kind of what you can expect between the two microphones right now, side by side. In a situation like this, the additional flexibility that the Comica offers with its levels built onto it is fantastic, because to kind of get them to be as equal as possible, I lowered the audio levels on the Comica to about 2.8, and I'm monitoring it and actually recording directly into the Zoom H1N. This is me talking directly into it, but as we move a little bit more to the left or right, so right now we're on the right hand side, I'd imagine that the Comica picks up the least amount of sound from the side, and that seems to be the case. And then when we go to the side here, the left channel, so the Deity is still picking up a good amount of it, whereas the Comica seems to not be, which is good. I mean, that's the whole purpose of them. Not very scientific, but it should give you a better idea as to how sensitive they are. What I'm now going to do is adjust the level on my Zoom H1N. So it was at 7 when we were very close there, and we were hitting that -12 to -6 dB target range that you want. We're at about 8, so we had to increase it by 1 level on the Zoom H1N to account for this longer reach here if you were to do a more vlogging style. Obviously, because of this, and now that we're further away from the audio source, we're going to be picking up more room noise, and that's very obvious right now as I'm listening to it through the headphones. It does sound louder on the Comica. Looking at the audio levels when it's just completely silent, it does appear that yes, the Comica is actually picking up more of that unwanted noise, even with its windscreen and dead cat on. Right now I'm about 4.5 feet, maybe 5 feet away from the microphone, and we are still targeting -12 to -6 dB. Here is the background noise. And with me talking, I mean, how clear is my voice? How much of my voice is it still picking up? And how much of the background noise is it picking up as well? Now listen to the difference between being right here, you know, less than like 3 inches away from the microphones. This sounds really good. And as I'm monitoring it, I'm hearing very little background noise. This sounds fantastic, in fact. And obviously the concern is this is very close to your face and isn't very good for the video side of things, you know? I would probably lower this a little bit so it's at least not covering my face up so much. And again, it's still very close to the audio source. It's a little bit further away right now, but it still sounds incredible in my opinion. Now, when I'm doing my YouTube videos, I usually have the microphone more in a boom style like this above me, facing downwards, about this distance away, but because of the framing of the camera, you never get to actually see it. So this also sounds very good. I'm probably gonna have to increase my levels a little bit, it looks like, yep. Because we did have to increase the levels on that, we do pick up a little bit more of the background noise again, but it still sounds pretty good. So this is the sweet spot, in my opinion, between practicality and convenience of the microphones. This is less than arm's length. This is again about 8 inches away. This sounds really good to me for both of them. All right, so before we wrap up, I wanna do one final test where I quickly take this setup outside. So now I'm about 10 feet away from the microphones. I'm talking a little bit louder right now. Not as much external noises, but we do have a little bit of a stronger breeze now that we're higher up. So how much of that is it picking up? I know with the Deity D4 Duo specifically, its windscreen isn't that great at filtering that out. So hopefully the Comica is a little bit better, and we'll be testing that out right here. Now, as I'm getting a little bit closer with it, still being a little bit more windy, how clear is my voice? And again, how much of that wind is either being picked up or filtered out?
All right, so now it's my turn. My voice is definitely a little bit different. It has a different pitch, so we'll see how it catches my voice compared to the wind here. We are walking towards the grocery store. I'm gonna pop in and get a few things that I'm missing, and then we will do a test as we're walking down the sidewalk towards our house and our apartment, and check on how well this microphone works when we're right next to all the cars going by and picking up all that vehicle sound.
All right, so we just picked up a couple groceries here. We're gonna continue our walk back home. We're gonna be testing a couple other things before we walk and head back into the studio. The first thing is, as we're moving right now, our movements are to a minimum, but how much of it is still being picked up by the microphone, and how good of a job is the actual shock mount doing in terms of minimizing that as Mia is using the camera and walking towards me, how much of that is being minimized. As far as advantages going for the Comica, it does have those two low cut settings that we mentioned earlier, the 75 Hertz and the 150 Hertz. So we're gonna quickly toggle between them. Right now we don't have it enabled. We've got a bit of a wind coming from, it feels like the left side here. Not too, you think it's coming from the right? Okay, maybe it's coming from the right, but we do have a little bit of a breeze coming through. So how much of that is being picked up on both of the microphones right now? Okay, and then this is with 75 Hertz. Again, I'm about an arm and a half length away from the camera right now. How much of my voice is being picked up clearly? How much of the wind is still being picked up? All right, and then this is with 150 Hertz on the Comica. Probably my voice is sounding a little bit more muffled, but you're probably not hearing as much wind right now coming through. Okay, it's pretty windy. Let's switch back to nothing. All right, and that's with no filter again, so you can hear the side-by-side between that and it being on.
So we finished with our outdoor testing, and in the very short time that we were out just doing some of that, we got a brand new lens delivered. I'm super excited about this. It's a little more alien than the lenses we are used to. So let's see if you can figure out what it is and what we'll be using it for very, very soon. So stay tuned for some videos made just with this.
And so that's been my experience using the Comica VM20. You can get really good sound quality with this if you keep a few things in mind. The best sound quality, of course, is going to come the closer you are to the microphone, or if you're within that kind of sweet spot of about maybe like a foot and a half of it. Any further, and I feel like you do pick up a lot of room noise, even in a situation like this where I'm not hearing that much just naturally. Just these microphones now are just so sensitive. The further away it is, the more sensitive it has to be to pick up the sound of your voice when it is further away. Otherwise, I'd have to talk really loudly in order to keep the volume really low, and that's not really practical in a situation like this where I want to talk in a normal voice. As it stands, I think it offers pretty good value. There are a couple ways it could be a better total package, the main one being having an audio monitoring port, and it'd also be nice if it did have a visual display for your audio levels on the screen itself. And the one other thing that would be great, and I feel like wouldn't be too hard to implement, would be a locking mechanism to prevent accidental adjustments to your audio levels. But aside from that, that's how I've been using the microphone, the things I think it works well for, and it's going to now be my new boom microphone going right there. So from future videos from this point out, you will be mostly hearing audio coming from this source. We have a lot of other microphone reviews coming up really soon, including the Rode Wireless Go. If you want to see or read that review, it's going to be live on makeuseof.com. But yeah, I appreciate you tuning into this video, and until the next one,